Here's a question I get all the time, most recently from Jonah via email. So thank you, Jonah, for prompting this Q&A vid. So the question is, how do I learn to change chords more quickly on the banjo? And this is a common question. As I said, a lot of beginners, once you learn some chord shapes here on the left hand, and you're trying to coordinate those with some right hand movements like a basic strum. So the first and obvious answer to this question, how do I change chords more quickly in my banjo playing, is practice, practice, practice. And I imagine you probably already figured that one out on your own, so I'll give you some more specific ideas that'll help you with your chord change practice. So here we go. First off, don't be afraid to let your right hand know what your left hand's doing. So assuming that we're right-handed players here, you got your left hand over here doing the chording. Your right hand doesn't need to be doing anything when you're practicing your chords, but it could help you actually physically adjust your fingers as needed. So a lot of folks, you have to build strength and dexterity in all these muscle groups, and you're asking them to do these precise and complex movements that you've never asked them to do before. So it's going to take some time to build the strength and the dexterity, just like it would in a larger muscle group to do complex tasks. So you got to have a little patience and persistence, but while you're doing that, you have to understand your fingers might be shaking over here and hurting. It's okay if you need to add a little assistance with the left hand in the beginning stages. So don't be afraid to do that. Tip number 2 is simplify. It's always a good idea when practicing to simplify your task. So the first way to do that is forget about the right hand. We're not going to try to coordinate our chord change with our strum right now. Just focus on the chord changes over here and just focus on moving those fingers from one chord to the next and do it repetitively, patiently, consistently. So the nice thing about this is, notice right now I'm not making any noise here, so you can do this while you're doing some other distracting activity. You won't even realize how much time you've really put into this. You can do this while you're watching a television show or movie. You can do this while you're listening to audio. You can do this while you're kind of otherwise distracted, and that's fine because we're just trying to get in the reps. The more times your fingers form these shapes, the more times they move from one shape to the next, the more you're building that muscle strength and dexterity, but also muscle memory, quote unquote. You're building neural pathways. You're programming your nervous system to where you can do this without thinking about it and without looking at it. So it sounds like a small thing, but when I suggest that to my students in person, I usually see a pretty rapid progress. It usually gives them the breakthrough they're looking for with this chord training. So I hope this information helps. If you have any questions about these tips here, leave them in the comments below. Also, if you have your own banjo questions and you want me to make a video like this for you, leave those questions down in the comments as well, and we'll see what happens.